Alright. Just going to do a quick mention and run through of the Akkal's Autumn Action 1v1 tournament maps here. This one is called Bluegill, and it's made by Tech Chariot. There's quite some symbolism to it. Bluegill is a community figure who passed away early this year, I think, or if it was very late last year, I think early this year. And yeah, it was frequently seen in Twitch chats and community games he played in mine as well. Was just a person you'd always see around, which a lot of us remember fondly. So it's a tribute to Bluegill. I think, well, there's some symbolism across the map here. I could get the idea. Here is a minimap, kind of envisioning a... I haven't talked to Tech about this, but I would say that this might be... idea might be to resemble a gill. And like a fish's gills. And obviously there's 4 fish here to be taken, to be contested. It's going to be one of your important food sources in the early game. In addition to your starting sheep, which is standard 8. I asked him to add some berries as well, because food seemed a little bit low with only 1 boar. But as you can see, there are zebras and ostrich to be potentially pushed as well. Resources somewhat scarce around the map, but there's lots of gold, especially to be contested in the middle. But you can't just go in there blindly, as there are crocodiles protecting it. Should be dockable, yeah. So you could also use use ships to control this middle area. Fight with galleys, float over demolition ships maybe, if someone gets too ambitious with moving around the map. But all in all, it's a pretty open map. I believe this is terrain you can't build on, just to confirm. So you can't wall all the way to the edge of the map. So it's essentially an open hybrid map, I would say, because there's naval play to be considered here. But as you can see, yeah, the food source is a little bit low, and that's not uncommon for naval maps. I mean, migration has less food than standard as well, right? And you have to rely on the fish. There's no deep fish here, though. It's only the shore fish, so maybe you'll see the players milling rather than docking in the first place here. For example, a mill here, and suddenly you have at least 600 food to go. But there's a crocodiles to worry about still, so maybe it's safer to use fishing ships. Don't know what's happened to the follower alerts, but I appreciate the follows from Croc and lots of letters whose name I'm going to struggle a little bit to announce, but I know who you are. Sorry about that. I think that's Bluegill, yeah. Wood lines spread out. Should be some potential for town center spots to secure at least wood lines around here. But also a map that might favor one town center all in. We'll see. All of the maps are new ones. So remains to be seen how they play out for us. Let's find next map on the list. Starting with Bluegill, we're going to move on to the Luge, which honestly I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know that word, but we'll go into that one. The remaining 6 maps are scripted by the Mad Cadder, who generously allowed me to use them. I got some recommendations as to the different map styles. So let's just hop into it. Right, so it is the one and only nomad start in the map pool. It would seem that red is my ally, so we won't be fighting here. Could have started this without the AI, I guess. So yeah, you need to build your town center to get started. Starting with 3 builders. Think it might make sense to go for a spot sort of like this to be close to the shorefish, but you could always mill them later as well. Obviously, shorefish playing a huge deal in this map as well. Open land map, but also aside from this terrain, oops, where you can't really... Oh, you can't! Which mean you can't actually mill these. Huh. Okay. Didn't... that sort of makes things more interesting, makes the shore fishing a little bit more, or a little bit less efficient, I should say. I will be looking at the minimap mainly. Didn't realize this was unbuildable terrain, but that's cool. So yeah, probably town center close to the shorefish, like the AI wisely has done over here. And you'll long distance collect the fish. Ideally, you probably want your town center bordering a wood line as well. Maybe some golds. And I think because you can't really quick wall or mill in the fish around here, this map would favor scouts and men-at-arms. Possibly. Archer is always an option as well. And like nomad maps in general, there's generous amounts of gold and stone piles around the map. Of course, you could town center these later on. And you could even settle in the corner and wall yourself in towards the edge of the map, I suppose. Rather than being in the middle and close to the shorefish. Yeah, so maybe it makes more sense to have your town center on the outskirts of the map and then aim for the middle at a later point. But that's Deluge, the only nomad start map. Seems to favor civilizations that collect fish more quickly, maybe Japanese for the cheaper meals as well. Remains to be seen as we get the tournament started. Next one is going to be Island Hideout. It's not the hideout you think, it's just in the name of it. But it's a hybrid map. Arguably, you could wall yourself in after collecting the boars. And then maybe work your way in towards the middle. Once again, we have the unbuildable terrain here, so you can't just magically work your way into the middle and expect to be safe through walling this area. Of course, you could wall where the trees have been, but yeah, some complications with full walling across the map. Same goes for this cliff edges here. Docking, of course, possible. It's going to be a huge part of this map, as you see all of the deep fish around here. I don't think you can let fish go on this map. It's going to be a vital food source to get going. You do have the deer, and you do have 2 boars though. So there's that. And the gold readily accessible right next to your town center as well, which definitely makes fast castle age plays viable here, given the distance. Might be a bit too far for some kind of Men-at-Arms Towers shenanigans here. But of course, if you're the only player to lumber camp on this side and get to the middle first, you're going to have essentially free access to wood, stone, gold in the middle without the other player having a say in it. So it's kind of like an inverse chaos pit as well. You need to, or you don't have to, but you'd benefit a lot from getting to the middle from the extra stones and golds over there. Stone is actually only in the middle, so you need to get to the middle for stone access. But yeah, naval fighting, not to be ignored here. You need to control this massive source of food that will delay your farms for a long time. Need for farms for a long time. And control it. Next up is Riverina. Could be a relatively familiar look to that one. But what do we have here? We have an arena with a backside river, which replaces what is usually wood on the standard arena maps. Something might have bugged out here, because this map is supposed to be walled in the front like Arena. Need to change diplomatic stance. There we have it. X. Makes sense. Yeah, I can't do that. Okay, hold on. Let's reload it and make the ally our enemy, so to speak. Yeah. So for different teams, then we should be fine. There we go. Turtles, thanks for the input. Riverina. Tiny map size. So could result in generations like this, where it will be incredibly awkward for blue to get the castle placed around here, for example. Ship outside walls, I'm sure that's intended. That can happen. Probably based on an old arena script. That's just an extra incentive to fight and scout earlier. So, you can dock the back, of course. There's not that much fish, but there's shore fish to be taken. And that would allow you to make some sneaky transports to the backside of the base, right? Unless the players wall the backside, which they could. Steer to be pushed as is standard. You should have 2 boars as well. Unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, there's 2 boars. And yeah, you could collect a little bit of shorefish for food access as well, but I don't imagine a lot of early docking here. Unless you want to do some silly early feudal age transport shenanigans and try to attack from the back. Could see some interesting ideas from the players there, but I don't think it will be too common. And to transport for a monk rush, also not really the way, is it? Because the transport ship costs wood as well and the dock, so it would be a huge investment. Hello, Kuala. Alright, that was Riverina. Rocky Oasis will be the next one. Should also have a familiar look to it. See, kind of like Oasis at first glance, with the massive body of wood in the middle. But you can see within the woods here are quite a few relics. I'm not going to try to count them all, but probably like 30 of them. This is like the Wolf Hill Oasis mix. And yeah, that's obviously going to take... until you get to the Imperial Age and can actually use onagers to cut through here. It's going to take some while to get to the relics through just chopping the wood, but maybe we'll see some Imperial Age shenanigans with that in mind. Backside of the base is not wallable, so this is kind of minimizing the map a little bit. Yes, it's tiny map size, but now it's even smaller. But it also means that you can't wall all the way to the edge of the map, right? So you'd have to wall between the woodlands and be a bit creative, make your box that way. So essentially it's an open map. It could favor scouts play, but as you can see, the distance is relatively large between the players as well. Please don't do poop lord stuff in the middle here and stall the game out in the middle oasis, but I think it's too small for that, thankfully. And yeah, standard resource advice, some sheep. I don't think there are extra sheep on this one like on the traditional oasis. Nope, no extra sheep. But you obviously have your 8 starting sheep. Might need to move a bit out to find the resources, mind you. Could be a little bit further out than we're used to with the standard DE script. But aside from that, standard resources wallable, but it's going to take some commitment. So early scouts aggression should definitely be an option. Yeah, the players could spawn closer, that's also good to know. That's Rocky Oasis. Let's move on to Scimitar. Another hybrid map. borderline full water map because of the top sides here, and you need to control the crossing. It's like a... It reminds me a bit of Highlands, but with larger bodies of water, favoring fishing even a lot more, and water control. You have your huge land areas though, so you could still get away with, as long as you can control your side. I mean, it's going to take some significant walling to cover the full side, and that first bit also can't be walled. Obviously, you can dock. I guess you could use the dock and... oh, okay. So you can't wall that edge either, which makes things interesting. It means you can't wall at least to the shoreline. You could still, again, wall between the woodlines, sandwich yourself in, and give yourself some kind of false comfort. But you don't want to give up water on this map either, right? Look at all of the thousands of fish, deep fish, shore fish, everything going on here. We can even... probably not. Dock that? We can dock closer to the deep fish in these areas. So you'd actually be able to benefit later on from... oh. Yeah, both players should be able to place a dock closer to the deep fish as the game goes on later. So that's a nice addition. Lots of small gold patches here as well, so we're not going to run out of gold early on this map. Could favor some late game Imperial Age fights if the players are evenly matched. There's berries, not going to be eaten early on, I think, because there's so much fish, maybe not at all. And deer and boar, allowing you a pretty comfortable standard start. This map has been edited slightly to have the first few sheep easily scoutable in the start, so you should be able to find at least a few sheep to get your game started close to the TC. Then you need to move out to scout further out to find the rest of them. Scimitar, I think it's the shape of it. It's like the weapon, a scimitar. Scimitar, last one is Siberia. Which, with my no snow mod, won't show the snow here in-game, but it's... in Capture Age, it will be... all this will be snow terrain, so it will be quite bright. This... is... reminiscent of one on the map that was used for Hidden Cup qualifier... Hidden Cup 3 qualifier, I think. And I said that was going to be a 6-villager start, but it looks like it's 3. Which I'll need to update in the handbook if it's the case. Could be a good thing, because or it could be a bug with with a new patch. But honestly, consistency with 3 villagers might not be too bad. So as long as the map works as it should, otherwise we will just keep that. There are some extra deer. There are 2 boars. There's heaps of deer, actually. And you're starting 8 sheep. Again, hopefully close enough to your town center, you'd have to move out to scout them. But it looks like the AI has done all right here. Yeah, this looks like a Mongols map to me. Or Goths. Actually, Goths with a longer lasting hunt. What the fuck is this kind of Lumbercamp AI? Step your game up. You're supposed to be extreme, aren't you? No, you're racist. Okay, fine. I take that back. You're excused. Yep. Lots and lots of hunt. Maybe even to the point where it would be worthwhile towns entering the woodlands with the hunts to the side here and take hunt and then seed farms. Gold patches, again, spread out across the map, so seems slightly higher than usual, not a big deal. Stones, looks like you have close to your TC as well, and then you could venture out and find some more, so should be stone for castles as well. open land map. There's a huge gap here down towards the town center. Otherwise, it's not particularly hilly. Otherwise, I would say it would favor cavalry archer play as well. But I suppose you could make an argument for early archers play on this map because you'll have the elevation advantage if your opponent is trying to grab gold close to home base. Towers, maybe. Because you have to move out to get to the woodlands, so the woodlands should be easily denied by ranged approaches like towers or archers. But that's just my theory about it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the players use the new maps in the map pool here. And yeah, we'll be launching the first round of Akkal-AOE action on Monday, November 27th. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a quick run through of the maps here.